Now for our What in the World segment. I want to take you to one of the worst performing economies in the developed world. The employment rate is only 35%. 45% of the population here lives in poverty. Over the last 10 years, more than 5% of the population has fled. We're not talking about Greece or some other basket case in the Eurozone or elsewhere. This is a part of the United States. It's tropical territory, Puerto Rico. And it is the next great battleground for the debate over austerity and debt relief. Back in June, the island's governor announced that it couldn't pay its $72 billion worth of debt. The so-called Island of Enchantment got into that bind thanks to its crushing 10-year recession and some really terrible fiscal policies enacted by the local government. The Obama administration has proposed a plan, and a Treasury official warned the Senate that Puerto Rico could easily become a humanitarian crisis without federal action. Senate Republicans criticize the lack of cost estimates for the plan and worry about Puerto Rico's fuzzy statistics. But the key issue here is that under the administration's plan, some of Puerto Rico's debt will likely be forgiven. In other words, its lenders will have to suffer losses. The administration's plan gives Puerto Rico the same right as cities in the mainland have, the right to declare bankruptcy. That's exactly what Detroit recently did, but Puerto Rico is currently not allowed to do it. So now the debate over congressional approval of the plan has begun, and the battle pits the Boricuas against the bankers. And the bankers have a lot more pull with Congress. You see, if Puerto Rico is allowed to file for bankruptcy protection, a court of law will determine how much of its debt it has to pay back. As it currently stands, the territory needs to negotiate directly with its creditors. Those creditors know they will be forced to take a haircut, as they say, if they go to court. Former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers has said it is absurd to suggest that Puerto Rico's debts can be completely paid off by further tax increases and spending cuts. Its debt is too large, and the economy continues to free fall. Investors in Puerto Rico's debt will certainly take a hit in any bankruptcy proceeding, but that is the price that they must pay at this point for a failed bet. As the New York Times has pointed out, a systematic restructuring of the island's debt in bankruptcy court is surely preferable to a chaotic legal fight if Puerto Rico actually defaults on its debt. Still, it appears that investors who have money and megaphones are fighting the administration's proposal tooth and nail in Congress and succeeding. If that reality holds true, Larry Summers says, it will be a profoundly troubling reflection on the power of special interests in Washington. It would also be a disaster for the 3.5 million Puerto Ricans, American citizens all. Next on GPS, should the United States pay reparations to its black citizens